I just to piggyback on top of that, I have started doing something every morning, just kind of taking some time for myself with meditation and just kind of writing in my journal. And I found that I was writing the other day, I was like, I have to be consistent and specific in virtually everything to be successful. And it's
Welcome to the School Site Corner. I'm your host, Joe Sims. We are here today for an ETG session on the School Site Corner. And I have with me someone who's been on here before. Actually, last year, she came with inspiration in 2021. So this year in 2022, want to get us some updates, kind of see where she's at with life as a mother, but also what's going on in her business. So Courtney, if you can give us a quick shout out and kind of tell us what's going on right now with you.
Well, first and foremost, thank you for having me on here. A lot of things are going on. I told some family members a couple weeks back, I feel like I went from having a little bit of a chill phase, just straight motherhood, to just all of a sudden my calendar is completely full. So I'm pretty excited about the different art opportunities that have been presented to me. Just really growing my business, my Eat, Paint, Live business. And also I have the opportunity to do 2 summer art camps right now. It's a lot to juggle, but I'm getting it done. And all the while still working on commissioned artwork, still doing, face painting, all of the hustle, all of the grind, everything all the time. So yeah.
You said the magic word, grind. So good, your calendar's filled up. Can I ask a quick question of how you obtained this, I guess, influx of opportunities to serve? Like, how
Hmm.
did they come about?
It's really interesting because part of it was by me making sure that I was on top of like marketing, because a lot of people have actually been saying here recently that they've been seeing my post on social media. So now I'm becoming kind of like that voice in the back of your head whenever you think about I need something art related, like automatically now you're starting to be like, oh, Courtney might be able to do that, or oh, Olivia might be able to do that. So that's definitely what I wanted. I want people to think of me as the go-to when it comes to anything, when it comes to like artistically. So that was one of the ways. The other way was just from me doing research, reaching out and talking and touching bases with some of my networks and connections. And yeah, a little bit of it was a little bit of luck, but mostly just kind of like that preparation for everything has just kind of made some things fall in place for me.
Okay. Something key, marketing. We understand that that's a huge part, especially online. There's so many people online and you have to present yourself and put yourself out there in a way to where others, they see you and they can find you very easily. What kind of obstacles have you noticed in that marketing realm, or some things that you've overcome that you can like share to maybe someone out there, such as myself, that markets, and we can use these as like, tidbits.
Honestly, one of the biggest thing is my husband told me a while back about consistency, and I kind of went in one ear and out the other. But it's truly just making sure that you are consistently posting. That's pretty much the only way that you're going to be in the forefront of somebody's mind when it comes to whatever you're marketing. So making sure that the consistency piece is there, making sure you have exciting material, whatever it is that you're posting is eye catching, eye grabbing. Nobody wants to look at things that are just grayscale unless that's actually what you're going for. You're going to hit them with grayscale and then immediately something very colorful so it catches their eye. Have done a little bit of market research into colors that actually draw people's attentions when they're going down their timeline, such as like the bright color orange and things like that. It just automatically signals in your brain like alert, alert. So you look at it. um I think also videos and things of that nature, just making sure that your content is relevant, interesting, up to date. If you can if you can capitalize on something that is a current event, something that people are already talking about, you have that much bigger of an opportunity to be placed in this algorithm so that more people will see your things. And the hashtags are everything. Hashtagging all of the different components of whatever it is you're offering and marketing is going to be helpful, just because that means that anytime somebody thinks about that, pulls that up, you're going to be coming up in that list as well. So they get opportunity to then navigate to your page.
Mhm. All right. So a lot of times I talk about strengths and weaknesses, evaluating tons of kids and seeing where their strengths and weaknesses lie. You talked about with the media and having to choose certain colors, and instantly I'm like, connection, connection. We have the artist. does that come easy for you to be able to put together a profile that pops, or put something together that you're like, oh, that I feel good about that going out? Does that become more easy for you as an artist, or you still have to work on that exceptionally?
Honestly, I do have a little bit of an advantage to that because I know what looks good aesthetically together. But I do still get like feedback from, close friends and relatives, people that I trust. I trust their opinion on. I'm like, hey, does this look too crowded to you? Does this look like it would be hard to read or not something that would grab your attention? And then I do a little bit of market research as far as just kind of taking like a survey and asking people like, when you're looking at social media, what are you looking at? What catches your eyes? Like what reels are going that you're just like, oh man, I got to see that real quick. Like, is it the thumbnail that got you, or what exactly was going on compositionally wise? So to answer your question, definitely a little bit of an advantage with being an artist. It's a little bit easier for me than maybe somebody else who does not think in an aesthetically pleasing way all the time anyway.
Okay. This is a side question, but have you ever found yourself scrolling through? A lot of times I'm not on social media to just, look at people's timelines and stuff like that. I'm actually doing things related to my business. But do you find yourself scrolling through and you find yourself down the bunny hole and you're just like, oh, I see how this happened? Because I put out content in a way to where it's like I try to resonate with the people in my audience. And so I hope they consume the content that I put out in that way, that I consume other people's random content, whatever that may be. Maybe I'm just kind of, relaxing, looking at some basketball videos. And before you know it, I'm like so deep into someone's comment and just like, what am I doing? Like, but that's the opportunity for someone to, go front and center with who they are. They have me.
You're right. It's very easy for lack of better words, it's very easy to be had on social media just because I feel like the algorithms are so smart that they know exactly what's going to grab you based on what you look at, your history, and based on the things that you post, and based on the things that you like, and the pages you frequently visit. This mega system algorithm is just going in there, and it's just like figuring out this amazing equation of like, I'm going to put everything front and center that they need to see. If you've ever talked about, oh, I'd really like a frappuccino, and then all of a sudden Starbucks is everywhere, you're like, it's not coincidental. Like
That
it's
happened,
not
I believe 2 days
coincidental.
ago. 2 days ago with Christina, and she was talking about something with her sister, and then she literally pulled her phone up, and it was like an ad advertising it, like just by her saying it. I said, "Did you type it in Google or something?" And she was like, "No, I just talked about it." And I'm like, That makes me think, because I'm like, starts getting self-conscious, like, oh, what am I saying that is going to be, connecting and all this other stuff. So for that reason, I try to avoid certain target words just when talking, like,
Yeah.
oh, girl, you the I try to
Yeah.
avoid that because I'm like, I don't want something to register and they're like, oh, this guy's a suspect or something. Who knows? But
Sure. I don't think it's not that incriminating, so to speak,
of
but
course, but yeah.
it will definitely, like, Brian, my husband, for those of you who don't know him, um he has an obsession with wings, and they know to target him on his paydays with the wing advertisements. It seems
Like
like
Wing Zone or something, Wing
it's
Stop.
always wings on. Yeah, specifically, it always is popping on his feed, and he's sending me pictures. He's like, "See, they're telling me this is what we need to eat tonight." I'm like, "Listen, no, that's not what that means at all. They know you have an obsession with wings, and you're an easy target, so
Yeah.
they're going to make the best out of that. Like they know how often you're on their website and things like that.
But the
So it,
awareness comes where you pick that up and you're like, hold on here. They're targeting me. I make my own decisions. I make my own decision. Do I want chicken wings tonight? Or, just kind of like, oh, zombie like go into getting the wings. But either way, you have to be aware of the pool.
for sure. And it can be good
Gotcha.
food too. Definitely, if you're focusing on like I've been working on focusing on like fitness and eating better and things like that. And good things will come up. Awesome recipes will come up to me. I'm like, oh, that's perfect. That's low carb. That's low calorie. That's something that I would definitely be interested in making. So it'll come up. I mean, it's not always evil. And obviously, we're trying to use it for the better side of things to advertise and market ourselves and for people who really need it. So hopefully that somebody's looking for art classes and I'm popping up on their stuff. Hopefully somebody's looking for a way to really connect with their kid and ETG is popping up, or
Mhm.
self-improvement and ETG is coming up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that goes into a whole nother language of SEO and all the stuff that I continually try to learn and strive to grow in, just because Like I can get very confused with the terminology. So work in progress. I love having these conversations because new things come out to where it's like, oh, maybe I can incorporate that in, what I do and kind of how I do things. But let me pivot a little bit. You
Sure.
mentioned a couple of things as it relates to your business. I also know that you have a daughter. And last time I spoke with you, you had a very young daughter. Your daughter has since evolved. And I talk a lot about family relationships, relationships with colleagues, a lot of relationships with your spouse, those kinds of things. So what is your relationship like right now with your daughter?
Oh my goodness. Bella is single-handedly the most amazing slash frustrating little person you will ever meet in your life. She is so smart, and one of the opportunities has actually opened up for me recently to have her in daycare part time. So that's awesome. That is definitely, I can tell, I can just see the wheels turning. But our relationship, that is my little sweetie pie. I just have to work very hard to not completely spoil her. Is really easy to do when that's your only child. And you're trying to make sure that you love on them and that they understand just how much you care about them and want to keep them safe, but also not smothering and like allowing her to learn and fall and bruise her knee or something on, just kind of that give and take, as opposed to just kind of being, I'm trying to stay away from being the helicopter parent where
Mhm.
you can't be out of my sight without me, having like a mini panic attack. So, but I think our relationship has definitely, it's evolving like everything else. She's learning what she can get away with. She's learning what she can't get away with. So it's definitely, some people call it terrible twos, trying twos, tantrum twos, terrific twos is what we're going for. We're going for the
Okay.
terrific ones.
All right. So when you brought it up, you said, oh, she's your everything, but she's also your frustration, kind of that, opposite poles of it. And that's very true. Because when I talk to parents a lot, we all have stories. Everyone has their kids' stories and they view it however they view it. So I put out this week a resource that looked at the 7 habits of a successful parent. If we break down what these 7 habits are, there's also a resource I'll link in the show notes for anyone that wants it. But when you break the habits down, they can be applied to many different areas of your life. So in business, in relationships, if you're trying to, develop something, whatever it may be with your children, you can use these habits. And one that kind of stuck out to me and it's kind of coming to the forefront right now, it has to do with processing, the habit of processing, looking at the good, the bad, and the ugly that comes with situations, but not, staying in that place to where it's all heavy. Nah, you look to process it, to get through it and learn from those situations. So there are times where frustration set in. Can
Yes.
you think of something that maybe you've been like banging your head on, like, oh my goodness, this is frustrating, that anyone that's listening, we can hear how you manage it, how you look at it. And then if there's anything that you use that helps you, we can share that as a strategy.
Sure. Um, so one thing that anybody who knows me knows that Bella loves to cry, and she has a blood curdling cry. And when she cries, it is just like you're just like, oh my goodness, like let's, all right, yeah. And something that we have been working on with her is because one, when you're out in public, you're like, this is embarrassing. When you're at home, you're like, okay, you're just like acting up, like this is too much. So it's like, and I know any parent feels this frustration, honestly. Something we started working on with her was, let's just redirect. When you start screaming, like out of control screaming, we are immediately on her with use your words. Like, let's communicate this, because we started looking into a lot of that screaming is coming from being misunderstood, not, you know, feeling like you can communicate clearly what you want. So it's been a work in process. It's been a work in progress with us actually working with her to use your words, like, and immediately that now is triggering. Now I'm not gonna say it works every time because that would just be a bold-faced lie, but immediately it typically, I'd say probably about 7 out of 10 times it will trigger a response in her to be like, they're listening. It'll be full out screaming, and then Bella, use your words, and she will then come back and start speaking what it is that she wants. And she's a 2 year old, so obviously she doesn't have a full fledged vocabulary. Um, a side note that we did realize she was doing, she was saying eat a lot. And we were like, you're not always hungry, but at least you're trying to speak about something. So now we're just working on increasing her vocabulary and giving her, we even give her options, eat, play, bed, like night night, bath, just to kind of see outside. We've been using different words with her so she can get accustomed to telling us what she wants, basically. Because it's embarrassing to be
No, I get it.
honest with that. Yeah, that's just it's a lot. And
I
I feel
have
like you can let it unravel you. So
yeah, I have a 1-year-old, Nova, and she's in the beginning stages of what you're talking about. And I'm kind of just thinking like, yeah, that's exactly true because Nova doesn't have the vocabulary just yet to, internalize, hey, mommy's telling me to use my words. These are the words to use. She's not
right.
quite there. She's with her very limited list of words right now. And she gets to that bloody cry that, "Ah, ah." And it's like, I get that she's frustrated because she's pointing to what she wants.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh, we try to give her the word banana. You want a banana? Yes. But like I said, it just comes with time. But right now it's in the beginning stages of that. But I like that you said you give them the words, you try to communicate. It's not always perfect. I like that you had a number, 70%, but you have a tactic, a strategy in place to redirect it. Now, when this happens in public, and we all know it happens, like, come on, it happens.
Yeah.
And you're like sitting there where you're faced with that, you know, it can be seen as shame in a sense or embarrassment, whatever you want to call it, but you're sitting there having to deal with this in public. What do you typically do? And like, what's going on?
So if it happens when it definitely depends on the location. But if it happens and we're like in like an intimate restaurant or something like that, we may try to redirect. First, we'll start speaking to her about what it is she wants. If she is just acting just insatiable, we may redirect, and one of us, myself or my husband, we may actually go take a walk around. So we may get up from the table and go walk around with her. If there is something that, like, if she doesn't express that she wants to eat, the food isn't distracting her enough, and she does typically have her little drawing pad and she'll color. If that's not distracting her enough, maybe like a walk around the building, or just kind of walking out to the car, showing her the flowers or the scenery outside, and it kind of gives her a moment to calm down. Now, once again, that does not always work, and you have to, and the other part of that is you just have to kind of, I just want to say, you kind of have to just like knuckle down and just kind of be like, at the end of the day, she is a kid. She's a kid. She is not always going to act the most logical, take her to places to start out with while she's getting this under, that temperament kind of under control. Maybe don't take her to the 5-star restaurants outright, to where you're going to have to get up in the middle of the dinner and leave and feel some kind of way about it. Maybe start off at, going inside of McDonald's, start off going inside of, Applebee's, places where it's loud environment anyway. So it's not going to be too disturbing. Because I do feel like if you always take her out, she'll get accustomed to that as well. They are little smart thingies.
That's
For
all
lack
they
of better word.
live off of
They are
behavior.
just,
So
yeah, they feed off of that energy, and they are smart as all get out. So if they get accustomed to, every time I show out in a restaurant, mommy will take me outside every time, like on the dot, they will do that. So you just want to make sure you're not setting in place like bad habits, because they'll
mhm.
act on it just like anything else. So
Yeah. And those bad habits, they come, it's kind of funny, the opposite of the habits I'm talking about to be successful, the things that in a sense enable the behavior to where they pick up on it. I get away with this. Um, there's numerous things that I'm checking on a daily basis to where it's like, I mean, she doesn't know that Nova, she doesn't know that she can't get away with it, but over time she's like, all right, I can't hit daddy, when he doesn't give me something. So it's like, all right, you have to condition that, but it doesn't happen overnight. It just has to be something that you're consistent with. So there goes that word again. You have to be consistent in order to see any kind of growth and progress.
I just to piggyback on top of that, I have started doing something every morning, just kind of taking some time for myself with meditation and just kind of writing in my journal. And I found that I was writing the other day, I was like, I have to be consistent and specific in virtually everything to be successful. And it's like it sounds so daunting and overwhelming sometimes, but just take it a piece at a time. But it's the truth of the matter. If you want to test it, try consistently doing something for a matter of a month, 2 months, 3 months, and see the difference versus having all of these excuses as far as like why you can't do something, or oh, I don't have time for that. Like, see the difference in the consistent one versus the one that you're not consistent in. And I promise you, like, I can guarantee you that you will have results in the one that you were consistent in. So
Hmm.
it just is, it's not like I guess it's not really an experiment. It's just kind of the truth,
Hmm.
unfortunately. So
Now, on the backside of that, I don't know if you, well, this is typically what happens to me. If I get so consistent with something and I happen to, do something that derails me, I realize that the more consistent I was with it, the quicker I'm able to bounce back up.
that's true. Yes.
So I talk a lot about, like, diet, eating habits, and our oldest sister. If we go to Georgia, we gonna eat. We're gonna find the Jamaican place. We're gonna find a new spot. And so it's like usually those are the derailers. But if I'm doing well and I'm getting my workouts in, I'm watching what I'm eating, and I do have a, let's say a slight setback, then I'm more likely to get back on board. And like 2 days pass, and I'm like, oh, I haven't worked out, to where my habits, the things that have made me successful, the consistency, they just naturally take over. So before you know it, just like last night, I was about to go to sleep, and then it's like I just told myself, go work out. And sure enough, wifey jumped in with me. We did a good workout, and then jumped back up again this morning and did something with Grow with Joe, some kind of fit test. So we got it in, but that came after having a couple of days to where it's like, all right, I'm doing some other things. I kind of fell off on the workout piece, but that consistency, it plays to where, hey, we're back on, no more setback. We're keep going.
100%. It's definitely easier to snap back like a rubber band if
Mm-hmm.
if you do have those things in place, because your body. I remember listening to this, and I actually took it and kind of thought about it, internalized it. People were saying that your body craves consistency, and I'm like, huh, I can believe that. I can believe that your body wants to have a routine. It's the reason why I've also been trying to put in place going to bed at a certain time, stopping my caffeine at a certain time, stopping my screen time at a certain time. Just kind of like even stopping work at a certain time, just giving your body that time to reset, rest, relax. And it's like, it just has helped clear my mind. But yeah, I feel like your body responds well to routine. So it's one of those things. I know you don't want to feel like you're in jail. You don't want to feel like I eat every day at this time, and I get that. I get that as an artist and a free-minded person, I like to buck the system more than anybody. I'm like, I'm not doing that because no, I don't have to. So, but I have to be real with myself when I say that the consistency piece has definitely, that routine piece has definitely helped me out.
A big piece of that has to do with our brains and how we think and our thought processes. So a lot of times with kids, you can see it a lot easily, or a lot more easily with kids, because let's just be honest, they don't know as much as an adult would know. They don't have all of those experiences. And so there's significantly less going on up there for them to process. And so when you see them, break down and they're struggling, it's like, all right, we have to simplify these processes, because their brain is making all of these neural pathways and connections. And so what is the quickest connection to get to the end result? For a little baby, crying, why? Mommy, daddy, they're going to respond. That's what they learn. That's why we have to kind of reprogram that over time, to where it's like, patience, patience. As adults, we run into this all the time, to where focus. You have to, stick to something, develop your neural pathways on how to achieve that goal or whatever it is. And the more simple that pathway is, the easier you'll get there, because we like simplicity as human beings. We like easy. So that's why that happens that way. And that's a great connection with your bucking the system as an artist, you say, but in reality, you can't negate the fact that consistency, you get great gains.
Yeah, I compartmentalize different things in my life to pretty much, I'm like, I can buck the system when it comes to the type of artwork that I do, the statements that I make with my artwork. But it's like, but I still have routine in like my personal life
Mm,
that helps me. And it helps take all of the guesswork out of it so that I can use the major part of my brain for the creativity that I need. That it
mm,
just that simplicity, I think, is the same reason why time and time again I've heard that like certain people, icons, they were the same thing every day. It's one less decision you have to make every day. Like if you
yeah.
take the guesswork out of that, you can focus your brain on things that are more important, things that can be, for me, it definitely frees up my creativity. I just feel like I can feel the juices coming in a lot easier just
You're
whenever
absolutely right.
that routine comes into play.
Absolutely right. So as you talk about routine, is there anything that you can advise as we kind of get ready to wrap up here? Anything that you can advise, something that we can get started on today, something that you find helpful as a routine or habit or something that, we can take as a listener?
Honestly, I would try to put in place the element of waking up and taking some time to yourself. You don't necessarily have to journal. You don't have to meditate necessarily. That's really difficult for me sometimes. I can't seem to slow my brain down. But just trying to take a moment to yourself and making it a very specific moment for yourself. Like, don't think of it as an afterthought. Take that moment and make that your moment. Just because it helps clear my brain. I use it sometimes for visualization techniques. And it just kind of opens up my day to where I feel like if everything else is going on, if I have a 2-year-old that I'm running after, if I'm trying to help my husband with something that he's working on, if I am teaching in 2 different locations, I still took that moment for myself. So I still was grounded in myself at the start of my day. Or obviously, you don't have to do it even at the start of your day, but take a moment out of your day for yourself. So,
Yeah. Have you read, I'm just curious, have you looked at the 7 Habits of a Successful Parent?
yes, I've looked over it. Yes.
Okay, because I was like, a lot of these things you're talking about aligns with these successful habits. So I'm just like, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So is there anything that you would like to share just in regards to what you're building right now with your business and any of the programs you're running that you want your audience to know about, or anyone that listens, they can, follow you with?
Sure. So I go by, my name is Courtney Olivia, but I go by Livlove, and specifically artist underscore Livlove on things like Instagram. I do have an Eat, Paint, Live, and that basically is a paint portion where I do paint classes and I incorporate wine and food. Looking to do some new things with that. That's a surprise. We'll talk more about that when that happens. But I also have a face painting element that I do for people. And the biggest thing is it's all up under an umbrella of Live Love Design. So pretty much if you look for Livlove designs, you will find me. You'll see all of the different facets of my business and all of the different art classes and private lessons that I offer. So yeah, look me up, chit chat with me. Even if you don't need a service specifically, I love talking and meeting new people. So yeah, feel free to hit me up.
You guys heard it right here. Courtney said, hit her up, which means if you have any questions about something that she's talked about, whether it's related to these art festivals, the art things that she's putting out, or it sounds like she has some information on how to build social information. So maybe you have a quick question, shoot it to her. She might give you some very valuable information. Trust me, I've done it plenty of times. So that is it for today, you guys. Until next time, take care.
Thanks.